What's up everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to another video here on the Jaime Staples channel. Today we're doing a Q&A, a good old-fashioned, what are you guys talking about in the comments? What are you asking about on Twitter? And I'm going to respond. So got a couple questions. Let's dive into it. So first, let's start off with some YouTube comments because we're on YouTube. I also sent out a tweet, but let's kick it off here. So we have a question from Finance Action. Jamie, what do you think about Fedor Luck? Sure, he's good, but he's freaking lucky. It seems he runs so hot, even when he is behind, he always seems to hit it on the river. So luck in poker, talking about Fedor Holz, obviously. I think Fedor Holz is one of the best tournament players that's ever played the game, if not the best. And I think his success is deserved. Now, when you look at the outliers in poker, like the people that have the craziest results, on average, they're going to be probably on the high end of variance, because that would make sense with logic. It's likely that they've run a little bit hot given their results are so out of the ordinary. But luck is a long-term thing, right? So my initial assumption when I see people that are successful in poker is not that they're just lucky. Usually my assumption is that they put in the hard work to get there. And what's interesting about these really great players, you know, and even players on Twitch, I find this about myself sometimes, is there's a lot of people making assumptions about how good or how not good someone is. And there's usually very few people that can actually evaluate how good they are. So when it comes to Fedor Holz, there's probably 200, 300 players in the world that could have a really solid opinion on his game. And the rest of us just aren't at a level where we can really give an insightful commentary as to, is he better than Igor Kurganov or something like that? We don't have the knowledge to make that claim. So that's what I think. Where do I find someone to back me? From YZZZZZZ7Z. So backing is interesting. I'm not entirely sure. You know, there's online stables that do backing for tournaments, do backing for spin and goes. There's just selling action. You guys can check out the video we released, How Do Poker Players Have So Much Money. It talks a little bit about some of these things. In terms of finding a backer, I really don't know. You just have to grow your network of players if you're looking to find a backer, and there'll be someone in there interested. Question from Sam. Slightly, you know, a negative question, but it's fine. Calling me up, keeping me on pace. I get it. You go on about focusing on yourself, yet you still smoke. Probably one of the biggest things you expect to stop/change when focusing on yourself. I definitely internally am very frustrated about still smoking. So to give you guys a bit of context, after the first Ultimate Sweat was over, it was number one on my priority list of things to do. So I knew it was going to be very difficult and I was going to put on some weight through the process, but I ended up quitting smoking for 2 months. And then I wasn't very successful in the Ultimate Sweat 2 at losing weight while I was doing that. So the stress that was added to my life for failing on one side, I started again. I don't like smoking, and it's terrible, and I'm looking forward to changing it in the future. It's one of those things where it kind of comes down to me as to when I'm ready to take the step to really conquer that part of my life that's negative. And I don't read a lot into like Sam's expectations, sorry Sam, in terms of what I need to do in my life, you know? I know I'm making my best effort at living life and doing my best. I'm not perfect, I'm a human being, but we'll get there one day, one step at a time. Oh yeah, also B-Car gave me this book, which I've heard a lot of people talk really good about, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. So after Ultimate Sweat 2 is officially finished, it'll be top of my priority list because I do hate it. It sucks. It's like being dependent on something every hour to have to go outside and leave your house. It just sucks. So I don't like it. Looking forward to getting through that. Do you ever think about playing less tables and make your results better? From Steve Ray. So this is a tough one because it's like there's a range that you could play. What it comes down to is money. So if you play one table, you know, you're going to be playing one table more than 2 tables, right? You have more time to focus on that one table. But at the same time, let's say you play 90% of your game on 2 tables. Well then, you know, let's just say it was an easy correlation, that totals up to 180%, whereas 100% on one table, you're probably making more money playing 2 tables. So it's trying to find that balance. And then for me, it's also, I have a stream, right? So I'm trying to make interesting poker content so that I can spread the game of poker to more people. And that's harder to do with one table. So I've settled on 6 is my average amount. Every once in a while, I'll stretch up to 8 if I'm feeling really focused and engaged. And then sometimes I'll play like less than that, like 5 or 4. That's the level for me. But I've had periods in my career where I've played 20 tables, and I've had periods in my career where I play 4. I think it really comes down to your current confidence level, what stakes you're playing, and then the other factors like streaming or how tired are you, etc. Jimbo says, Jamie in jail, question mark, question mark, question mark. No, this is it's just a pattern, dude. It's just a pattern on a, it's not jail. You don't, yeah, you don't pay taxes from poker?
Oh, right.
I do pay taxes on poker in Canada. A lot of people have asked about can you make a tax video on poker, and I would, but the problem is it's different for every country, right? So taxes in Canada are different than taxes in America, are different than taxes in the Netherlands, and I'm not an authority to speak on all these different countries and how their taxes work. In Canada, it's a very gray area, but I pay taxes on my poker income for, I think this is my 4th year now as a professional. And I think that's an okay thing to do. You know, like I don't really mind paying taxes in that. I'm a citizen of the country. I view what I do as a legitimate profession. You know, I treat it like a profession. So I don't mind contributing to infrastructure and to healthcare and social programs and national security, whatever it is that our taxes go to. So I don't mind it, but that's the situation in Canada. If you're not a professional poker player in Canada, if it's not a business for you, then you don't have to pay taxes on poker income. There you go. I'm not a tax consultant, by the way, so reach out to a certified tax person to get your answer for you. Dom, can I get 0.01% of the main? The PSPC? What is 0.01%, Brando? 1% is $250. So 0.1% is $25. 0.01% is $2.50 in equity. You know what, Dom? You got it. But this is the last time I'm doing this in the YouTube comments, so please don't ask for sweats. Thank you. You got it though, Dom. 0.01%. You did this, Brando. You did this to us.
I thought you were going to say no.
No, I gave it to him.
Set a precedent.
All right, Dom. Reed Marks asked a question. Jamie, what advice would you have to someone who's able to grind chips early on but then loses it all during the last 30 minutes of late registration or first hour after late reg? How to more consistently be able to balance between 30 and more chips once you actually grind out about 200 to 300 on early stage. I'm not sure exactly what they're referencing with these numbers, but I'll keep going. I think my biggest problem is that I start opening too wide, but then I catch myself not being able to go all in with some strong hands either. So any advice on this? So this is a common question. I actually just had a conversation with Nikhil, who's playing the PokerStars Players Championship. He's the winner from my Ultimate Sweat competition. And this sort of thinking came up as well, which is I build a stack early and then it doesn't go well. Or I can't build a stack early, and if I could, then I would do well. And that's part of the variance in poker. We have a video on that, which was released on the channel just a little while ago, so make sure you check that out. But sometimes you start tournaments where you're kind of card dead and you can't build a stack. You could be Fedor Holz, you could be the best player in the world, and it's just like you don't have the right situations to build chips. And then sometimes it goes the other way and it goes crazy. So I think really what it comes down to here is a mindset change, first of all. Stop putting expectations on yourself as to I need to build chips early or I need to double up to survive. Each hand is a vacuum. Can I be profitable in this spot? Is this a profitable spot? Yes, then you take it. No, well, it's like that's out of your control. Wait until you find one, right? But the second thing to get better at different aspects of the game, like let's say you're struggling in the mid level of the game, well then you'd want to focus on studying mid stages of tournaments, which would be the 20 to 40 big blind range, and check in on, am I raising the right amount of things? Am I doing okay against 3-bets? You know, am I calling enough in the big blind? How am I playing post flop? Just work on those aspects of your game through study. So that's what I'd say. Thanks for the question, Greed Marks. Chris Ramsden, how do you know if you're running bad on a downswing or just implementing a losing strategy? One of the hardest things in poker. We should all be thankful for this, because if this was very simple and it was easy to understand if you were doing the right things or the wrong things, it wouldn't exist as a game. You know, like you couldn't play for money if everyone knew you were clearly worse than the people in the field. So it's hazy. When you're playing online, you can use a heads-up display, which tracks your hands over a long period of time, and you can see your win rate, so you can see how many chips you're winning. That's helpful to determine if you're winning chips on average every hand. Of course, some hands you lose, but over a lot of hands, a million hands, you get an idea of if you're doing the right things. And then also just understanding the math behind poker can get you the answer without needing the results. So understanding the engine that goes into making our decisions, right? So let's say we have a flush draw and we have 36% to hit our outs, and there's $100 in the pot and we have to call $10 all in. Most of us know this is going to be a profitable situation because we can win $100 in the pot for an investment of $10, even though we only win 1/3 of the time. So that's an example of understanding the poker math that goes into it to not have to rely on our results to determine that's the correct decision. So at the end of the day, work on that theory, work on understanding the math, but focus on the things you can control here, really. Like, I wouldn't sweat it too much. Just keep trying to put in time on your game, and hopefully things work out for you. Question coming in from Marcus Gregg. Should I buy Ticket to Ride? You should buy Ticket to Ride. It's a fantastic game. We got to get another game in, Brando. It's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks. We need some Ticket to Ride in our life. Okay. Maybe tomorrow. That sounds nice. Bobby Winger. What's up, Bobby? Computer setup is just so sick. My guess 10K plus for that setup. The dream? Not quite 10K plus, dude. Although, if I had a steady spot, like if I wasn't traveling around a bunch, I'd probably throw 10K at it because this is my home, dude. This is where I spend so much of my day. My computer's about, I think it was like 4,000 Canadian, so 2,500 US dollars. You know, pretty beastie. Built it up. These monitors actually aren't anything special, so I usually just buy new monitors when I get to a place that are 24 inches or 26 inches, because they're usually about $150. And instead of traveling around with suitcases and they often break, I'll just buy some new monitors. So they're stock standard BenQ, 2 BenQs here, different models. Don't know. I have a Corsair keyboard. I have a Razer Naga mouse. I have a Stream Deck. I have another hotkey sort of thing, and my Blue Yeti microphone. So really, I'd say this whole setup is like 4,500, and the Beats headphones. With camera equipment and stuff, maybe we stretch our total gear up to 10K, but yeah, I don't know. It's a professional setup, but it's not the sickest. Check out Ninja if you want to see the sickest. Pretty good setup, man. Question for you, man, from Greed Marks. Did you ever consider buying a standing desk if not to put too much pressure on spine? Blood flow is much more increased during lung sessions. I really wish I could have one, dude, but I'm spending like 3 months of the year at a specific place. Standing desks are expensive. It takes a lot of time to set them up. It's just not worth it for the short period of time. But if I ever find myself having a steady grind spot that I own as my own or a long-term rental, it's definitely something I'd look into. My brother has one, and it seems like for most people with standing desks, they usually do not their whole day standing, but it'd be nice to have the flexibility of, like, you know, just getting the blood flowing, like you said, and not putting too much pressure by sitting in this position all day. So one day. Brandon David, happy holidays. Thanks, man. Happy holidays to you as well. What are your thoughts on the WSOP events for 2019? What do you plan to play? I haven't been able to check out the schedule because I don't think I'll be playing any WSOP this year. I love the World Series of Poker. I've played the main event before. I think it's a fantastic series and a lot of fun to go to. But at the same time, my focus is very much on creating streams on Twitch and creating vlogs. Now, I can vlog up a storm at the World Series of Poker, but I couldn't stream in America, and that's a big problem. Twitch is my home base, and I need to put a lot of time in there, so I think I'll be staying in Europe somewhere this summer and streaming a bunch, because that's the best thing for me long term. But good luck, everyone, playing in the WSOP. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to be popping part 2 tomorrow on the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you back then.